Good afternoon, good afternoon, good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to another episode of Spilling Tea. I'm your host, Tiffany Daniels. We are going back to that horrible world known as the JRC, but before we do, the usual disclaimers. If you're unfamiliar with the Stop the Shocks campaign or the campaign against the troubled teen industry, you're going to find all the pertinent links right there in the description box. Please, in particular, take note of the articles written by NeuroClastic, a small non-for-profit started by autistics for autistics. In it, they interviewed over 800 ABA professionals in regards to the JRC's so-called behavior modification program. The Judge Rotenberg Educational Center doesn't want you to read that article so much. They threatened NeuroClastic with a defamation lawsuit. They did not remove it from the website. NeuroClastic refused, so folks, you know the drill. Please read the article. Share on all your social media. Also included is NeuroClastic's public statement in regards to the defamation lawsuit threat, as well as a link to their GoFundMe. We are crowdfunding just in case the JRC actually sees through with their threat. Trigger warning 1. When we discuss places like the Judge Rotenberg Educational Center or Agape Boarding School for Boys, you're going to hear vivid descriptions of and catch clips of surveillance footage of people with mental health issues and disabled people being tortured and abused. If you got young children present, please use your headphones. Trigger warning 2. This channel is marked not for kids for a reason. We use profanity on occasion and speak on dark subjects. If your child is 16 and younger and they are watching this, very obviously, parental supervision is very much advised. All right, so we're going back to where we left off last night, where the JRC Kool-Aid drinker, for reasons unknown to anyone, is now, once again, accusing the FDA of bias because they did not include the statement from the DOJ in regards to the U.S. Department of Justice Civil Rights Division's investigation into the JRC. Well, they said that but you can't say because they didn't charge us with anything. Again, the hell that have to do with the price of eggs? The FDA's mandate is to not impart guilt on one party or another. This is not a criminal investigation, more's the pity. It certainly should be. It is simply to determine whether the GED device has more dangerous risks than it has benefit. That's it, and that's all. Any prior incidents in regards to the JRC's insanity that have been brought up in regards to the panel in the first place were only put there in regards to context as to what risks the device actually poses. That's it, and that's all. It would make no sense to be bringing the DOJ into this because they were not casting a judgment in regards to the safety of that device. That's not their job. Okay? They determined that what was going on was not illegal. Something being not illegal and something being horrifically abusive, unfortunately, is not the same thing. Okay? We all know that legalized systemic abuse of neurodivergence and disabled people is considered legal, unfortunately, in many areas of life. That's why ABA is so damn prevalent. What it doesn't do, legality cannot tell you whether something is safe or not. It's legal to drink. Drinking to excess is going to put you in an early grave. You see my point? But anyways, before I go on another rant, let's go ahead and get back to where we were yesterday. The FDA disagrees. Thank you. There are many reasons why the DOJ may have chosen not to take enforcement action against JRC under the statutes it administers, which are different from those administered by the FDA. Exactly what I was just saying a moment ago. That literally had to do with an investigation of the JRC as a whole. It was not something that was investigating the risks and safety hazards of the GED device. Okay? Seriously. The fact that the DOJ did not do so does not mean that JRC's use of ESDs complies with accepted professional judgment, practice, or standards. Thank you. It's not the DOJ's job, folks, to determine the safety of the GED device. All right? They investigate legality, as it were. Okay? Because it was not considered illegal in the state of Massachusetts to use that torture device, they didn't press charges. Because unfortunately, in that situation, they can't. There is a reason why most of us who've been in this for years have been pushing for 20 years to overturn that consent decree that came down back in 1986. All right? For the love of God. That being said, if it did comply with these standards, why are they the only place that fucking uses that damn device? Because it isn't standard of care. Standard of care is general consensus, across the rest of the medical model in regards to care. Okay? Standard of care is positive behavioral reinforcement. And much to my disappointment, it's ABA. It's person-centered planning. It's OT. Those are standards of care. It is something that is programs that are used across the board in regards to treatment of neurodivergent folk. You can't argue that the GED device meets these because it's being used in only one place. So how the hell could that be considered as a part of standard of care? Please explain it to me like I'm 5. God, this hurts my brain. But let's continue, shall we? The commenter further asserts that the FDA's reliance on the DOJ's statements that ESDs do not conform to professional standards of care is misplaced and flawed, as the DOJ conducted a full investigation and did not take enforcement action, and the DOJ is not qualified to dictate healthcare practice. It pretty much puts it there. I'm rereading that for you so that you can understand. The DOJ's job is not to determine what is current standard of care, what the professional standards are, because that's not their area of expertise. These are not mental health workers. These are not people who work with disabled folk on a daily basis. Okay? For the love of God. Let's clearly go back here where we were, where the FDA is responding to this idiocy. Indeed, as discussed in the proposed rule, the DOJ clearly explained its position that ESDs for SIB or AB are harmful and have uncertain efficacy. It does indeed, folks. I've read it. All right? The reason why they didn't act is because legally in the state of Massachusetts, because of that goddamn consent decree, they legally can't. They did not rule on the device's safety whatsoever. But because unfortunately it is legal to torture us neurodivergent folk as long as you called it medicine, there was jack they could do about it. All right? That's not clear enough. I don't know what to tell you. As explained in the proposed rule, the DOJ has experience in this field because it must determine relevant standards of care in administering the statuses under its purview. And the evidence submitted by DOJ pertaining to the state of the art is corroborative of the FDA's conclusions based on other evidence. In other words, what they found is it does not meet the standard of care requirements used by literally everyone else. However, unfortunately in Massachusetts, it's legal. Not all things that are legal are safe, people. If I have to explain it to you, if my autistic, almost 40-year-old ass have to explain that to you, for the love of God, think about your life choices. All right? Their job was to determine the legality of what the JRC was doing and see if they were acting beyond their scope. Okay? Them not pursuing enforcement on anyone is not saying that the JRC isn't guilty as hell. The FDA doesn't have to mention those DOJ comments because, first of all, if you read it all in its context, it is actually rather damning in regards to the JRC. You just, as you read it, you realize because of the way the laws are in Massachusetts, there was fuck all they could do about it. Okay? That does not mean what the JRC does with the GED device is safe. All right? It's that simple. All right, we're going to go ahead and close out, and I'll see you all here in another few minutes. We don't get very many views on this channel. The few we do tend to get removed from time to time, folks. You know the drill by now. Please don't forget to hit the like button, hit subscribe. Please don't forget to hit those comments. I appreciate your time this afternoon. As always, folks, we here at Spilling Tea do hope you have a good one. I'll see you all in a few minutes. Bye-bye, everyone.